Babick. I'm an artist and a crafter, and I'm a Jill of all trades. I've always felt like I needed to create. When I was a kid in school in Toronto, I remember asking my teacher about could we stay in at recess and draw. There was another boy that was in the class who liked to draw, and originally I wanted to be a dress designer. So these 4 paintings are some of the first paintings I ever did, and that is over 50 years ago. I took painting from Doris Cooper, a lady in Sutton. At the time, we didn't know you should copy other people's work, and so she taught us from pictures of other artists. These are Robert Wood's, and he's very famous, and I did a very good job of learning how to paint like him, but because they are copies, I don't sell them, and I've written on the back that they're copies and they're just for me. So she taught me in oil painting, which was my first medium that I ever learned to paint, and I thoroughly enjoy it except for the smell of the turpentine, so I haven't been using oils as much as I used to. Oil, only this isn't a copy from anyone else's work. My son went out west and I copied from his photograph. These purses, I've designed this. I even used my own pattern. I line them, put the zipper in, and so it's something that you won't find anywhere else. So this is a big wrap. It's supposed to go around, and then there's a pin that will go on the front of it. So I do that. I'm always creating, even this, like the little hat beside the sewing machine, is because my grandson liked Batman. So I make my own patterns out of my head and create what I want. Intuitive work with watercolor as well as paint, regular watercolor. Dorothy Clark McClure would run classes and talk about intuitive work. You don't plan anything. It's a 2-day workshop where you manipulate different colors that are in a triad, and then the next day you look for items within the painting and then work them up. So sometimes you find stuff and sometimes you don't. And she always had, which I do have, is animal speaks cards in case you found an animal so that you could tell what it was, or you know, try and get some message from what you did. So I have one up in my bedroom which I did, and it looked like an eagle sort of face in it, and in the center is a picture of Da Vinci. So I don't know what it really means, other than I felt like I can create and fly like an eagle. Also do photography and have won awards in some of the shows for some of my pictures. And I do watercolor, which are usually under glass. But I also learned how to do watercolor and seal it so that it doesn't have to be under glass. So now you could spray this and it won't alter the watercolor whatsoever. So there's always new things that you can learn. And I love to create, I love to experiment. So the aquarium, I call it, is made out of silk painting, and it's very time consuming. You have to use a resist, and you put your colors on, and then you have to steam it, and then you have to wash it, and then you have to iron it, and then do another layer or another manipulation to get to the stage that you want it. If you don't, if the ink the dyes go over the resist, they will just bleed everywhere. have quite a few silk paintings, and I have now started doing resin over top of them, which is extremely difficult. The little iris painting up there is one of them that's on silk. I like doing the silk, but it's messier and time consuming, so I don't do as much of it. This is a poverpol sculpture. It looks like it's made out of cement, but it's styrofoam, and then the technique with sand and poverpol is put over top. It's very lightweight. I learned how to do that in one of the courses that I took with the poverpol.
So why do you do sculpture? It's like a different way of expressing yourself?
I love playing in the mud with real clay. I used to have a ceramic shop for about 5 years, and in Poverpol, and I really love doing sculpture. I have not too many pieces left, but I'll show you my hands out there. This is my hands that I sculpted, not my personal hands, but what I call this is gimme gimme. I have a sense of humor in my art. So one of the other sculptures I have is this, and it's a finger bowl. And I always put it on the table at Halloween when the kids come and say, "Would you like to get your candy out of the finger bowl?" And they go, "Oh, no, thank you." And then I have a helping hand, which is another sculpture. And when I was making the first one of these sculptures, I'll show you what happened. Called Nature's Picks. The hand blew up, and I ended up with 3 fingers. And I didn't know what to do with them. So I decided to turn them into what most people do with them, by making Nature's Picks. This is also a clay sculpture, and with the 3 puppies. This is a sculpture called My Little Genie, and I have a clown sculpture here that's left in its natural color. The wire sculpture I learned in Halliburton School of Fine Art. I make 2 or 3 different sizes of birds and come up with my own design, like the hummingbird and the dragonflies. I dabble in everything. So I do resin art here. These pieces are not finished. They're waiting for another coat, and they take 2 to 3 coats to get them exactly the way that suits me. And when I have leftover things from a pour, I create other small things. This was an experiment, and I realized I have to use a different picture because it ran, and you can make little jewelry and things that are left over. You don't want to throw it out, it's too expensive. So I learned to do the resin and alcohol inks during COVID because I needed something different to sort of lift me up. So alcohol inks is also something you should wear a mask with. These are all the paintings that I do with alcohol ink. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but I use an airbrush to manipulate and make flowers. And you can paint whatever you want to. It's a learning curve. I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing. Do something that's different. These are acrylic, and I guess I was watching Frozen with my granddaughter and decided that I would make a spring one and sort of a summer one or water one, and then this one here, and decided I would take the poverpol and wire and t-shirts and create the same branches, making it feel more dimensional. I love to try doing stuff like that. Doesn't always work, but I like to try it. This one is very in right now. About 6 years ago, I was going down Yonge Street, Yonge Street, and the sign near Aurora said Greenbelt, and on the other side of the sign they were tearing the place apart, and I thought it was really quite unusual to see a sign that says entering the Greenbelt and then down the road they're tearing it up. So this is my interpretation of the animals losing their home while the houses are behind them. It isn't framed at the moment. I put it in an art show, and years ago art used to be controversial, but they don't look at it like that anymore. They want something that's pretty, and so it wasn't accepted into the juried show, but I think it's very relative right now that this is what they're doing to our green belt. It was a great show up at the gallery, and it was done with where you could write a poem to go with your artwork. And I don't remember the year of it, but I had this piece in that I did with the collage work and acrylic and the poem.
So why do you write poetry?
I've had a lot of things in my life that have affected me. The loss of a son, a husband, and dealing with my parents when they were sick, and my own health. And so sometimes it just helps me to put it in writing. Who's that looking at me? And it's about aging. When you look in a mirror and you're getting my age, you think, who the heck is that old lady looking back at me? And I wrote it years ago when I first started getting closer to retirement. And this one here is Time Flies, and it goes with the piece that has the watches and the butterflies. Two paintings, one is acrylic and the other one's watercolor, and in my classes I teach people, this is for the advanced class, how to paint from anything, and this is a black and white photo of me. So I've put in my own colors, taken things out, put things in, and this way they learn how to paint. I do a lot of paintings of Georgina, but this one, however, is just a picture that I decided to paint, and I call it TP. And the reason being is it's three-dimensional, and the birch trees are made out of toilet paper. Thanks very much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.